Welcome, everybody, to the Michigan Football Junkies podcast. I'm Jeremy Miller, and we got a few different things today as far as a few spring notes, some things that we're hearing out of there, as well as some current and former Wolverines. So let's jump right into it. David Ajabo, unfortunately, he was hurt at Michigan's Pro Day today. He caught a ball, planted, and went down immediately. It's a non contact injury. He was seen leaving the facility with a walking boot on crutches, and it was wrapped all the way up to his knee. This screams ligament damage, whether it's just a severe sprain or whether he tore something, ACL, MCL, whatever. It's not good for David, unfortunately. So we'll keep an eye out. Hopefully, it's not something that needs surgery. That's the best thing that you can hope for. After that happened, Aiden was urged by several scouts to no longer continue the workout. That makes perfect sense. When you're talking about a guy who's projected to go in the top 3, why would you take more risk when you just went to the combine and killed it? Absolutely killed it. So they stopped right then as far as David and Aiden, but let's just hope that David is going to be okay. On to some spring news. Olu, you cannot stop hearing good things about him. Zack Zenter actually went through and he spoke about how strong he is, how he's got great leadership, and just they got comfortable pretty quick. I mean, when you think about this, he was at Virginia Tech. I'm sorry, not Virginia Tech, at Virginia. So he was a Cavalier and came here, and this is, I believe at that time, it was like his 4th team workout. Now, I'm sure that some of the linemen got together, just like some of the wide receivers and everybody else, and they work on stuff on their own. So, regardless of how it happened, just having your guard and your center on the same page and feeling comfortable, that's a great thing. But also hearing out of camp is talking about Greg Crippen. He's the backup center, and the best part about this is he's a true sophomore. So Olu's gonna play. He's gonna start. He's gonna move on to the NFL. After that, Greg can step in as a true junior because he's a true sophomore right now. In the event Olu gets hurt, you got a guy who's ready to step in now. But next year, and possibly even as a senior, we could have a very good center ready to go. And that's really great news for Michigan offensive line for the future of it, because center is more important than left tackle. And in case you didn't hear me right, let me say that again for the ones way in the back. Center is more important than a left tackle. It's the QB of the offensive line. If you don't have a good center, you probably do not have a good offensive line. That's just something that is desperately needed on every single team. So that's another thing that you really like to hear coming out. Trente Jones and Carson Barnhart, they're the ones fighting out for the right tackle spot. Zenter, as well as Moore, and even a few others have indicated Trente Jones has the lead for that job. That could go either way. Both of them are seniors. Actually, I do not remember if they're 5th year or not. I don't believe so. So either one of them could potentially come back, because don't forget, they both get a COVID year. Khalil Mullins was a running back slash linebacker recruit, and he came in and was playing linebacker, but from what a couple different people have indicated, he's playing some running back now. I don't know if this is going to be a two-way player type situation, if he's just filling that power back role, that's the thing is we have two guys that could potentially play that minus Khalil Mullins in Tavier Dunlap and with CJ Stokes coming in. Both of them are over 220 pounds, so they're good size. Stokes, obviously, I think has a higher upside than Tavier Dunlap, but Khalil Mullins is, last we saw, and this is last year, because remember, we do not have height and weight yet for this season. Last season, he was 236 pounds. So that's a guy who could really play that role. Maybe he's just learning that role in goal line situations. Haskins is gone. You need a guy to really be that power back and just hammer home when you need that 1 yard, that half yard, whatever it may be. And seeing that we have a pretty good offensive line coming back, that's something I think that we're probably going to be in a lot in the 2022 season. Think about how many times you saw them. They're like, hey, it's 2nd and 2. We're going to run the ball again. Oh, it's 3rd and 1. We're going to run the ball again. And they pounded these other teams in submission. So I really like hearing that coming out of camp. Some former Wolverines. Sorry, I'm kind of jumping around a little bit here. Brian Griese, former quarterback for the Michigan Wolverines and a longtime NFL quarterback. He's joining the 49ers coaching staff. He's going to be the quarterback coach. So nice to see another Wolverine in there. Jimmy Rolder, he's a linebacker recruit out of Illinois. From what we hear, he's up 10 pounds this offseason, and he has not joined the team. He's not an early enrollee. He's really been bulking up. Just having that little bit more muscle coming into college is a big thing. Hopefully, Jimmy's a guy that he has good speed. Hopefully, he doesn't bulk up enough where it takes away from some of that speed. Now, there's one position that you cannot stop hearing good things about this offseason, and that's the wide receiver position. You ever hear the term where there's smoke, there's fire? What if there is smoke coming out of every single window of Schembechler Hall? That's because everybody who talks about the freshman wide receivers cannot stop saying good things about them. I mean, even Harbaugh came out and used the term freak show. You have a guy like Amarian Walker, who's 6'4", he's fast, he's got great deep speed. From what we hear, he's a phenomenal leaper. And the 3-cone that we're hearing, it's still, I don't believe that time is real. I just can't. It's faster than the fastest 3-cone time in the history of the combine. So I'm going to say that he can probably get in and out of his breaks a lot faster than what they expected. And that's what that 3-cone time will do. It's all about being able to turn. It's all about speed and quickness, that short area quickness. So Marion Walker, that's huge. Oh yeah, he's 6'4". Then you have Darius Clemens, 6'3", over 200 pounds. And depending on the place he went, he ran a 4.4 or 4.3. That's in high school. They talked about how physical he is. These guys are still true freshmen. There's a long way to go. Tyler Morris, everybody just says he's, gets in and out of his breaks. I think they're still limiting him a little bit because remember, he tore his ACL last year and he was still getting up to speed. From what they say about Bell, he is working on the side. He's practicing, but he's not running in like padded practices and drills. And I think if I had to guess, he is not going to play in the spring game. That's my guess. But you still have a lot of players there at wide receiver. Hence the reason why you see Sanistril move over to cornerback. Hence the reason why you see AJ Henning being used a little bit at running back. Oh wait, I may not have mentioned that in the previous podcast. Yep, we're hearing AJ Henning is being used in the backfield a little bit. I don't know how he's being used yet. I don't know if this is a residual effect of seeing monkey see, monkey do. You see that in the NFL constantly. Well, Jim has coached in the NFL. He's played in the NFL. He watches the NFL. Look what happened with the 49ers. And with that whole dynamic, they were able to use a wide receiver in just the amount of ways they used him was ridiculous. End arounds, pitches, handoffs. You saw passes out of the backfield. You saw him being used downfield. So it's, Henning's not Debo. He's not built the same, but Henning is just dynamic with the ball in his hand. So I love that ability to get him the ball in any which way you go. The Kansas City Chiefs did this years ago with Tyreek Smith. If you look at his first year, they handed the ball off to him. He ran a couple routes. He ran some routes out of the backfield. And as he went, you saw him get more and more comfortable in the wide receiver role. I don't know if that's what they're doing with Henning, or if they just saying, hey, we need to get the ball in this guy's hands. He's dynamic. So that's another thing that we're hearing about the wide receiver position. Speaking of of freshmen, Will Johnson has been doing the same thing as the wide receivers have been doing, except on defense. He's already playing with the second teamers now, but many expect that to change before the season starts. He's athletic. He's long. They said he's playing very physical. And even more so, that he's got great instincts as a corner. So I don't know that he's going to start the season at corner, but I can see him being a major contributor in that defensive backfield and being in the rotation. Somebody goes down, boom, you've got Will Johnson there. And if the opposite is true and Will Johnson does start, that's even better. You're talking about a guy, a 5-star, a legacy, coming in, starting immediately. This could be huge things as far as for our future as a team. Think about a guy coming in as a true freshman, starting at cornerback instantly. Oh yeah, he's also a 5-star. So this could be an elite defensive back. And we really haven't had an elite defensive back since what? Woodson? Was that the last one? I mean, we've had some good ones. Leon Hall was really good. But I can't say he's elite. In order to be elite, you got to be a first-round draft pick, right? So Will Johnson, early reports say that he's on that track. And people are talking about him being a future first-round pick before he ever stepped on campus. So Mike Sanistril, we brought him up a few minutes ago. That's another one. We keep hearing more news on Mike tearing up at nickel. He's basically playing the role that Dak played, and I talked about this on a previous podcast. It's just spring practices, and he has several people talking about his performances already. They're not even 10 practices in. He's at a new position. I don't care that he played cornerback in high school. He's had a few years at Michigan. He has not played. This is stepping up against a higher level of competition. He's hasn't played that position in a few years, and they talk about his short area quickness. He's been very physical. This is also great news. With JJ being out, Cade has been the main guy back there. Obviously, you still have Alan Bowman. So Alan has been the backup, that's fine. That's fine. You still have those freshmen coming in this year as well. But Cade, he's not gonna let JJ just take his job. He said, "I'm the Big Ten champion. I'm the Big Ten championships winning starting quarterback," and that's how he sees it. So he's looking at it like this: is, hey, you may be a 5-star, you may have all these tools, but it's still my job. Rod Moore and Jaden McBurrows both are out for the spring practices due to surgery. With both out, that's the reason why it's given Sanistril a chance to shine. Has been playing that nickel role. I guess before this all happened, people were expecting Rod Moore to probably take that role, that Dax role. But let's see how it goes with the rest of spring practice as well as fall camp. Now, I had an interview set up with Troy Woolfolk, former Wolverine, son of the great Butch Woolfolk. And unfortunately, I had a major... I'm going to take the blame for it. It's my screw up. But unfortunately, I used an app that didn't allow you to record the other person if you were using Bluetooth headsets. So, you know what? The way I look at it is it's unfortunate. I wasn't able to line Troy up again to re-record it, but I'm going to recap some of this because I thought it was really good. Troy kind of started had a stir going on Twitter after he posted that he was the fastest Michigan Wolverine alive. And several people they're like, no way, get out of here. You even had Roman Wilson just posted a GIF where he was like, just kind of looked side-eye like, what the hell is he talking about? There's no way. Well, after that, I saw a practice video that he ran a 10.68 in the 100 meters and didn't look like he was trying to run real hard. I mean, he's still running, but it's not like he was just out there jogging. But it definitely looked like he could have taken it up another gear. So I started asking him, I said, what brought this whole thing on? Troy's been training athletes. He lives down in Texas, I believe now. And he's been doing stuff online. He does stuff in person. He even gets up, I think he said 7 hours early because of time zones, because there's somebody in another country that he trains over the internet. So he has a few NFL players that he's training, and he's like, man, these guys can't beat me. He's like, I'm faster than every single one of these guys. He said, man, I might be the fastest Wolverine alive. And he sat there and thought about it more and more, and then finally it was just like, I am. And now he's just full on. He's like, hey, you want to shut me up? Come beat me in a race. If you think that you are faster, prove it. Now, Troy's 32 years old. He hasn't played football since Team 132. That was Michigan versus Virginia Tech in the Sugar Bowl. That was a phenomenal game. And in that season, Troy played cornerback, got switched to safety. So there was he's kind of moved around. He talked about how much the team meant to him and how they all still have a group chat going that they only talk Michigan football. 132. Team 132 only talks Michigan football. And he got a few people like man, somebody better check on Troy. He's bumped his head. Did you hear what he wrote on Twitter? Man, he's crazy. But still not stopping Troy from talking. He still doubles down on it and says, take on anybody. Bring Jabril, he ain't gonna beat me. I don't care. Roman Wilson, I'll take him down too. Denard, all of them. He's taken on all comers. Now, somebody else brought up he only ran a 4.57 or something of that nature when he was trying to go for the draft. Well, Troy said he had a leg injury at the time, and that's why he only ran a 4.57. The fastest 100 meters he said he's ever had was 10.2 seconds. That is ridiculous. He said he cannot run 10.2 now, but he doesn't need to run 10.2 to beat everybody else, according to him. All I'm going to say is with Troy, I don't know if I can bet against him. A buddy of mine did, and it's out there on Twitter. He bet him $500. And I'd love to see, I can't wait to see this race. They're talking about doing this at halftime of the spring game. And I mean, this could be an annual thing. I think this would be great, having some sort of former Wolverines come back and do something at the spring game during halftime or something of that nature. I think that could be kind of fun. Who knows? Maybe it's just this year and nothing else goes on from there, but I think that could be entertaining for us fans. We did also bring up this year, and I was asking him a little bit about what he thought about this team. And he's not worried. He's very excited to see the offense this year and just seeing about all the different weapons they have. I even talked to him a little bit about some of the freshmen coming in, and he's already blown away by like the reports on Amarian Walker and Darius Clemens. But on defense is where we spent most of the time. I know, big shock. A defensive back talking about defense. I know, blown away. But anyways, he talked about this upcoming defense and what they need. Said that last year the defensive backfield was covered up a lot by David Ajabo and Aiden Hutchinson. And that makes perfect sense. You're talking about two elite pass rushers. And since they're both moving on to the NFL, either the incoming defensive end edge rushers need to step up and really make their presence felt, or that defensive backfield needs to take a step up. Either way, I think there's a good shot of that with some of this incoming talent. You have Rod Moore, who was a true freshman last year, came on through the second half of the season. You have, obviously, you're missing the senior safety that was next to him. But with the amount of talent that's in there, I think that defensive backfield actually could be better this year. The edge rush, I'm not 100% on that. We have some talent there. We have some guys that we've seen some flashes from in previous years. We're also hearing some really good things about Mike Morris. Mike Morris is the guy for pass rushing right now at Michigan. Somebody mentioned that he could be the next Hutchinson. I am not going there. He's got size, he's got some ability, but Hutch is special. I'd love to see Morris be that guy, but let's wait and see. The other one we're kind of hoping for, and this could be really big, is Jalen Harrell. Jalen Harrell is better in space. He has not provided a good pass rush. If he can take that next step as a pass rusher, this defense could be special again. You're talking about a guy who's big, strong, fast, agile, can cover, can play in space. The only thing he's really missing is pass rush. I just don't think he has the ability to step in the middle and play there. So he's kind of forced into that situation that he either has to get better at pass rush or he may not be able to be a consistent contributor on that defense. But that's about all I have for this. I'm hoping to get some more out here real soon. I'm trying to get a hold of a few other players to come on and set up some times. This time, I guarantee you I will not use the same app and have that same problem that I had with Troy. I cut it. I just basically recapped a little bit, but the interview I had with Troy was about 37 minutes long, and it was phenomenal. I loved it, and I was heartbroken that it did not get recorded, but hey, you get experience right after you needed it. So, as always,
it's great to be a Michigan